Yo, what's good, everyone? Welcome back to another special episode of Winning Picks Weekly. It's Super Wild Card Weekend, Greg. What's up, man?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I was added to the graphic when I started. I was like, what a title, what a name. I'm ready for Super Wild Card Weekend. It fills up the weekend, it fills up the graphic. It is a lot of
Fills up our
games.
life.
I'm very excited.
Yeah, man. Especially, I feel like I haven't watched good football in months. Maybe it's because I'm a Jets fan. Maybe it's because the college football final was terrible. But that's a pessimistic view. There's been some really good football, like the college semifinals, which we did okay on,
Yep.
and some big week 18 games. But here we are, man. This is where it matters. You know what it is. Follow us on at Winning Peak Weekly on Twitter. We put out our daily bets, including Chip Murphy, who is betting on college basketball. So you can find his bets there. And of course, on our YouTube, Knicks, Jets, etc. Period. We have the Knicks playlist, we have the Jets playlist, and we have the gambling playlist. So without further ado, Greg, let's start off here with a little. We have three division games in this playoffs. Let's start with Seattle at San Francisco. Is it at 10 points right now?
Yeah.
That's unbelievable, man. Double digit spread for Brock Purdy and the number one defense in the league. What do you got?
I got Brock Purdy and the number one defense in the league. I think that they played twice this season. I think San Francisco's beat them twice. Um, the mantra that we all know and love, it's tough to beat a team three times. Not really the case. It's really not too hard to beat a team three times if you look at the numbers from the last few years. So I think the 49ers are a better team than Seattle. Seattle, I feel like, kind of had a tough end to the season, week 14 on. Wasn't playing that great, where 49ers were playing great with Brock Purdy. Like I was talking about on here, I start betting it. Was it George Kittle, multiple touchdowns? He's just been doing it with Brock Purdy. They just have a good connection. They make plays when they need to. The defense is lights out. So 10 points is a lot. It makes me want to take the underdog. 60% of the money's on San Francisco. That makes me want to take the underdog. But I'm going with San Fran here. I just think that they're head and shoulders above Seattle at this point.
So shout out to Bill Simmons, who pointed out that last Super Wild Card weekend, to be more specific, all the favorites covered except for the only underdog who actually won straight up.
Yep.
So kind of your sentiment here, where it's the points really don't matter that much. I'm not sure if there's any correlation between, last year's spreads and this year's spread, but just a note here. They like to say that a lot about college basketball too, when it comes down to it during the tournament. I just don't know how true it is. But here we are. You like the double digits. And honestly, I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I can give 10 points to Brock Purdy. Listen,
Yeah.
San Francisco's had good defense. No team, honestly, nobody scores against San Francisco. I get it. But to be honest with you, it's the playoffs. Like, Brock Purdy, you've been okay, dude. I get it. But I don't know if he's going to be able to make the throws. And this is a experienced Seattle team. They all played in the playoffs before. Of course, Pete Carroll, coaching advantage over Shanahan. I don't care what anyone says. Geno Smith, comeback player of the year. Listen, it's a restart. So I'm kind of throwing away the end of the season for Seattle. The end of the season for San Francisco wasn't that great either. I'm not too impressed by it. You know what I mean? They played defense and they shut it down. I like the under, but I'm taking the 10
Yeah.
points here, to be honest with you. I'm taking the 10 points. All right. That goes to one of the most interesting games. Both teams had a ridiculous last 2 weeks of the regular season, right? We had the Chargers, who clinched and then played last week for no reason and had a ton of injuries, including the most important players. Bosa, who might actually play, but he's obviously hurt, and Mike Williams, who looks like he's not going to play. And the Chargers look completely different when he's on the field and when he's off. On the other hand, you have Jacksonville, who, 2 weeks ago barely played. Last week, when you look at the box score, yeah, they won and they won the division and it was great and they beat Vrabel. But dude, stunk, man.
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence, it was the worst game. And I mean, Josh Allen had the pick six or the fumble six, whatever it was, the turnover six. I can't remember at this point. But that was such a bad game. And it was Josh Dobbs. So I'm really conflicted here, to be honest with you. Everybody likes Jacksonville, which worries the hell out of me. It seems like a pick where you're kind of like thinking about last week, about
Yeah.
week 18. I don't know. I'm curious, man. What do you got here, dude? I'm struggling. I want Jacksonville, but I'm worried it's a sucker pick.
Yeah, it's one of those things that it's when you look at the names, the Chargers and the Jaguars, like Jaguars historically are in the playoffs. The Chargers historically, if they even are in the playoffs, usually they choke before the playoffs, but they choke during the playoffs. This I want it to be a best bet. I'm probably going to bet it alternate line. But again, I feel like I might be a sucker here on it. Let me look up if I can find the alternate line spread for you real quick. But dude, I'm all over the Chargers in this one. I like
I
the
mean,
Chargers so much. Like I
they're
said,
Super Bowl favorites, bro. They're Super Bowl favorites. You know what I mean? Like Seattle is barely barely could win two games, and some people have the Chargers literally up making upsets all the way through.
yeah,
So I get what you're saying.
Chargers minus 6.5 is plus 235. Like I really like that. Like I said,
Okay.
I just think they're head and shoulders better. I don't think that Jacksonville has been very impressive the last few weeks. Tennessee's game, I guess, was impressive that they kept it close enough to allow a strip sack fumble on a questionable Josh Dobbs pass. Was it a pass? Was it not his pass? Was his hand moving forward? They kept it close enough that changed the game and that won them the game. So I guess that's good for them. But if they don't get that, they really looked like they were outclassed by a Tennessee team with, like, to your point, with Josh Dobbs. So I'm not too impressed with Jacksonville. The defense has been a little bit better than usual, but the offense still. Trevor Lawrence, man, when you look at it, he has games when the pressure's on. You can look back his time with Clemson. There was one national championship game where he just looked terrible. There was another semifinal game where he looked terrible. Last week or whatever, he just didn't look too impressive. He was missing some guys on some plays. So, I mean, both these teams are first-time quarterbacks going to the playoffs. So, it's inexperience all around. But I just like the Chargers in this one. I think with their offense, even though without Mike Williams, I think they have enough guys there that they can get it done, both in the passing attack and the running attack with Eckler. I think they're going to be strong.
All right, so two last things here. Do you care that Doug Peterson obviously has the advantage over Staley, which I just got the vote of approval that he's going to stick around next year? Great. There's clearly a disadvantage there. Does that bother you? And also 2.5 at home. I mean, I know it's not the 3, but still points at home in the playoffs.
Yeah, neither of those things bother me too much. It's not great that the reports are coming out that you have your job for next season before you play the game. That kind of worries me a little bit. But no, Doug Peterson, yeah, he has an advantage, but he doesn't have the horses that Stanley has. Like the Chargers, I think, are just a better team on the offensive side of the ball. I think Herbert's a much better quarterback at this point than Trevor Lawrence. Defenses,
Okay.
I think, are pretty even. If Bosa plays and he's 100% healthy, maybe I'll give them the edge on defense.
I think that's an oxymoron. As much as I love Bosa so much,
Yeah.
like both Bosas, do I love them so much, but to
Yeah.
say if they're fully 100% healthy, I
You'll
I
never
just
see
don't
the
think it's
day.
ever possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Josh Allen's been pretty good for Jacksonville. They have a couple good defenders, a couple good cornerbacks, so they're all right on the defensive side of the ball. But the problem is one of those things like with the Jets for the last few weeks. They have to be perfect in order for them to win the game, and that worries me against this Chargers offense.
All right. I mean, it's the Saturday night game. I hope it's exciting. I'm gonna roll with the Chargers here. I'm gonna not get too crazy, not get ahead of myself, not freak out about last week and the box score. And honestly, this Mike Williams thing, there's so many tidbits about and Mike Williams isn't there. I think they're fine. The Chargers on the road is better than the Chargers at home.
Yeah,
I'm
they
rolling
still
with the
have
favorites.
yeah on the wide receiver depth chart. They still have Palmer. He's a big body outside guy. He's pretty good. They have Carter, who's a little bit more
Beast.
shiftier, kind of middle of the field guy. Keenan Allen's obviously there. He'll draw the number one cornerback now that Mike Williams isn't there. What's nice when you have Mike Williams is that you have a tough time as a defense deciding who am I going to put my best defender on. Now it's pretty easy with Keenan Allen. Like I said, Carter, Palmer, and then Eckler out of the backfield. He could have 100 receiving yards in this game. He's unbelievable. So you have some options still.
All right. And, I'm going to split it down the middle here. You know what I mean? Underdog in the first game, favorite
Yeah.
in the second game. You're rolling with both favorites here, which jumps us into Sunday. A, a, a rematch, I guess, of Thompson versus the Bills. This opened at 9.5, went to 13.5, even though nothing happened in between. Like, all they said was Tua was not going to play. Obviously, if Tua was playing, it would not be 9.5. So I have no idea. It would just literally start at 9.5 for people to get in Buffalo under the 10.
Yeah.
That's my theory here. Which is why I'm a little bit scared of 13.5, man. I'm scared of the Dolphins. I'm scared of Buffalo trying to cover 13.5 because honestly, without Naheem Hines scoring 2 return touchdowns last week, one, I'll quote myself saying one of the most emotional plays of I cried while watching Naheem Hines score a touchdown.
Yeah.
It makes no sense for the team that I really dislike. It makes none of it makes any sense.
Yeah.
And they needed 2 of them. There's only been 4 returns all year. They scored 2 in that game. I mean, they barely won. So I don't know what 13.5. I don't know if they're gonna cover it. I'm scared to take Miami. But dude, here's the question: is Hamlin coming or is Hamlin not coming to the game? That makes a big difference.
Yeah, I don't know. I assume
if Hamlin shows up to this game, it should be 37.5.
Yeah, I'm with Buffalo all the way here. Whether he's there or not, I just think they're just gonna outdo them. Offense is too potent. Miami's offense has nothing to show for itself. Yeah, they have a good run game, I guess, sometimes. But Buffalo's going to sniff that out. They're not going to be throwing it like crazy with Skylar Thompson. So you lose the advantage of having Waddle and Tyreek Hill. I just think that it's just too easy here. 13.5 is a little bit scary, but it's a home team. It's the 1 o'clock. It's going to be gorgeous out in Buffalo, no matter the weather. And the place is going to be absolutely rocking. I mean, to go what they've been through is just, as a fan base and as a team, it's just, I can't imagine what this atmosphere is going to be like on Sunday, especially with a team that has a long history of not making the playoffs. They've obviously turned that around over the last few years with Josh Allen. Now they expect to be in the playoffs. They expect to make a deep run. So I expect them to come out and really put it on Miami. Again, to your point, a divisional opponent. You've seen him twice already this year. You've scouted him. You know what to expect. I think Buffalo comes out and puts, like you said, wins by 20.
Mike McDaniels, yeah, it's going to be tough for him. All right, 4 o'clock Sunday. The G-Men going back to Minnesota. Listen, this is one of those cases where I wish the Giants didn't play the Vikings during the year. If the Vikings have been the team that everybody hated all year. They're lucky, their point differential, history, Kirk Cousins, they suck. It doesn't matter. On the other side, you have the Giants, who have the exact opposite of skill players on the other side, even though they're making all pros, but whatever. The opposite of household names, let's say.
Yep.
And then every time they win or they cover, we're talking about this is unbelievable. Dable, coach of the year. They're coming out of nowhere. They're the underdogs, and we're so impressed. It's really an oxymoron the way everyone talks about how they're so confident in the Giants and how they have no confidence in Minnesota. It's a 4 o'clock game, which means it's a 3 o'clock game. It's back in the dome. They're not going to do the stupid white and purple nonsense anymore. They're going to have a regular Minnesota game. It's going to be loud. There's going to be less Giants fans than there were during the regular season. Dude, I know they needed a 60-plus yard field goal to win that game. I don't think they're going to need that at all this game. I think they're going to come out early, and they're going to be up the whole game. This feels like one of those, I want to take the Minnesota to win from the entire game. One of those prop bets.
The whole way, yeah.
The whole way, because I just I really don't see especially if the Giants get behind early, it's over. They're
Yep.
not coming back. So -3 points, maybe. What I was gonna say, Greg. I was gonna say maybe I'm taking the chalk. I'm gonna stop myself right there. I'm not taking the chalk. Everybody loves the Giants.
Have you looked at the money?
No,
Dude, I like the Giants too because I'm in the group think with you. Everyone's talking about the Giants, this, that. I go to look at the money today. 92% of the money is on the Giants.
of course,
I'm
dude.
all
Everybody
over
loves the
Minnesota.
Giants.
All over
Ev-
Minnesota.
all day, people are telling me Giants, Giants,
Yep.
Giants. Dude, when
Everywhere
was the
you
last
go.
time the Giants looked impressive in a football game?
Yep.
Impressive, not won the game. Impressive. Maybe the Eagles, kind of, for like a minute. Like, I don't know, dude. The Giants win games. It doesn't look impressive. Minnesota wins games, looks impressive, but at some point in the game, they look bad. I get that. You know what I'm saying? Like they make terrible plays. Dude, I think Minnesota's going to absolutely roll the Giants. And I think it's going to be what everybody wants: Minnesota versus the Eagles. I mean, that's what everyone wants. That's what everyone needs. Speaking of what everyone wants and what
Real,
everyone needs,
real quick though, I agree with you. Minnesota -6.5 plus 150 on the alternate line. I'm cooking up a little alternate line parlay as we do this.
6.5 is a little scary. That's a little scary with Minnesota because it could be like 5. Because the Giants, they do that annoying stuff where it's going to be like 27-22 or
Yeah, a
you know
couple
what I
2
mean?
points here and there, a couple 2 point conversion misses here and there. Throws off
That's
the
what it
score a
feels
little
like.
bit for sure.
The Giants are annoying.
I have a concerning trend happening until I heard your thing about Bill Simmons. I did not hear that today. And now I'm fully on board for this next game because I liked all the favorites so far. I didn't even realize that when I was putting this together.
Yeah, besides the Seahawks, I'm with you here.
Yeah.
And
We're either going to
honestly,
be rich or very, very broke by the end of this weekend.
but it's so funny you said that because without giving too much away, I'm on the opposite side. The next 2 games here. So well, maybe not on Monday. Well, let's start with the prime time Sunday night game again. Baltimore versus Cincinnati. I feel like I've watched Baltimore versus Cincinnati 50 times this year.
Yeah.
I don't care that they didn't play. I really do feel like that. It feels like a basketball type. They're playing like every week.
Yep.
Cincinnati at home catching 9.5. And we have the whole story this week about Lamar Jackson on the other side, about how, the Ravens have no chance, Lamar Jackson. And then we have the whole world ready for Cincinnati versus Buffalo rematch. Wants Joe Burrow. Talking about how Joe Burrow is the best quarterback besides Patrick Mahomes, even people putting him in front of Josh Allen this week. All right. Everyone calling Josh Allen a couple boneheaded plays. Ever since the Jets game, really.
Yeah.
He's looked kind of off. But we all forget he got injured. Whatever. We're on to Baltimore, Cincinnati. Speaking of injuries, with Lyle Collins out, Cincinnati did not look good last week. They played this Baltimore team, and listen, I know Cincinnati looked good last week, and Baltimore looked like they folded. But I'm going to tell you one thing here, and please be clear about this. John Harbaugh is vastly superior to Zach Taylor. And I think it was a genius move. I think he was being Bill Belichick in that last game. He knew he was about to play Cincinnati again. He knew it was going to be a tough game after what Cincinnati just went through the week before. He knows everything. He knows what Cincinnati brings to the table. He plays them twice a year.
Yep.
So he was just checking it again. What are you going to do without Lyle Collins and the huge game that you need, right, for the stupid coin flip stuff? They were so motivated last week. To be honest with you, man, I don't want to say it. I really don't want to say it out loud. But I honestly, truly, in my heart, think that Baltimore is going to beat the Cincinnati Bengals on Sunday night. I know it sounds crazy. I know,
Yeah.
but listen, Cincinnati, their best asset is going up against Baltimore's best asset, which is the throwing game. And the Baltimore defense has been legit. Roquan Smith just got paid.
Yeah.
This is playoffs Ravens. Like this, I know it's we don't have Lamar Jackson, but maybe next week we will. I legitimately think that Cincinnati Bengals are about to lose, which is not good for me. I have a future on Cincinnati, right? When they were doing bad, they were about to come up. I took them to win the Super Bowl. I was like, oh, they could just make it back because teams like the Kansas City and Buffalo are going to beat each other up, and then Cincinnati's going to be right there for the winner.
Yep.
You know, that's how I thought it would work out.
Yeah.
Not great for me if this happens, really. But I legit, especially because I already cashed out my San Francisco Baltimore future early that I had on, so that'll be even worse for me. Baltimore does well, but listen, I really think Baltimore is going to be Cincinnati. Love the 9.5. Absolutely, my best bet plus 9.5 Baltimore, which is crazy because I want my best bet to really be. I'm taking 2. This is one of my best bets. And the next game, I'm taking one of my best bets. But I'm taking Baltimore plus 9.5 division game, especially after the debacle last week. Where's the public here, Greg? And what do you think?
Public right now in this game is kind of split on the spread. Okay. 53-47 in the favor of Baltimore, so a little bit more of the money on Baltimore. The under, though, 93% of the money on the under 40.5. I think that's kind of interesting because I thought at least Cincinnati would be able to score a little bit. I guess Baltimore maybe might not be able to score. I'm not sure.
I love the under that you're mentioning it. I do love the under in this game.
Yeah, I think a lot of games probably people are leaning to the old under. Dude, I just don't see it. The Ravens have lost the last 3 of the 4 of the season. They lost to the Steelers. They lost to the Browns. They lost to the Bengals. All divisional teams, all teams that know them well. Huntley's just not the same as Lamar Jackson. Everyone knows that. The offense just doesn't seem to be clicking. Even though, like, in years past, like, I don't know if it was last season or 2 years ago when Huntley first got on the scene when Lamar went down, their offense was able to move a little bit. They had a good running game. The running game hasn't been the same. We all know the issue with Baltimore and their wide receivers. They have none. They willingly have no wide receivers. I don't know why they do it, but they do it. The defense has been good. They've been holding teams over the last 4 games to about 20 points a game. Bengals being the high of 27 last week when they played. So, that can be tough. But
I have some pushback, Greg. I don't want to cut you off, but I have some pushback about the schedule stuff. Listen, Baltimore, yes, we went over to Cincinnati game week 18, right? And he was living in 2032 benching his players.
Yep.
Before that, we have the Steelers, who again, they knew that game didn't matter because they knew they had the Bengals the week after, especially with the Bengals having a Monday night game after where they didn't know the outcome. They it was going to be a no contest. They knew that the division was going to come out to Sunday. That's why I got flexed earlier. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Before that, they beat the Falcons. Terrible Saturday loss to the Browns. I agree. That week 15, inexcusable. I agree. Before that, beat the Steelers, beat Denver, lost by 1 to Jacksonville, beat the Panthers. Like now we're talking bye week. We're in November, early November. Beat the Saints, beat the Buccaneers, beat the Browns. We're now all the way at week 6, and we're looking for like a really bad stretch for Baltimore. I think it's a little narrative based because of Lamar Jackson. Because
when Lamar Jackson get hurt, I feel like he's been out. Like the 3 or 4 wins that you just went over with the Buccaneers, Saints, I feel like those were with Lamar Jackson. Then I think he got hurt before the Panthers game.
Yeah, Lamar got hurt during the Denver game. Early.
Game. Oh, so no, that was even after that. So since Lamar's been out, they've been 2 wins, 3 losses.
But again, they beat the Steelers, and then they didn't have to play them the second time.
Yeah.
The Bengals game they didn't play. They beat the Falcons. They've been doing okay. Their offense doesn't have to look that great, dude, because they're giving up. He went out in Denver, right?
Yep.
Week 13, Denver scored 9 points.
Yep.
Week 14, Pittsburgh scored 14 points.
Yep.
Week 15, the Browns scored 13 points. Falcons, 9 points. Week 17, week 18, we won't even count. But again, Pittsburgh scored 16, Bengals scored 27. But I'm just saying, these are just some stats. Nothing. I'm not like I'm just.
Yeah,
I'm just saying that John Harbaugh, the Ravens, good defense. All they do was run. Tight ends are healthy. The Bengals are banged up. Everybody loves them. 9.5 rematch from last week. I don't know. They barely covered that last week. You know what I'm trying to say? Where the Ravens were literally benching their players and the Bengals needed that win. They're so motivated. The coin flip, all this stuff. They won 27-16.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
barely
I just
covered
don't.
that spread.
To your point though, it's like once you get up by 10, once you get up by 2 scores, if you're the Bengals, like, are you really pulling out all the stops to the other team's conceding, so why would you show your whole playbook? Why would you score 50 and hurt Jamar Chase and T Higgins
That's a
and get
good point.
everyone hurt? It's like
That's a good point.
we know where this is going. We're gonna play next week anyway, so what are we doing? To me, I just think Cincinnati, just the offense is just too much for Baltimore. I agree that Baltimore's defense is pretty good, but again, when you go over the list of teams that Baltimore's held to under 20 points, you've mentioned it. It's the Broncos, Steelers, Browns, and Falcons. That's nobody good. No one's writing home and saying, "Oh my God, look at my offense. I have the Steelers' offense." So I think Bengals for me is my best bet of the weekend, -9.5. I just think their offense is just too much for the Bengals or for the Ravens.
Okay. Let's go to the Monday night game, which makes this the super wild card weekend. And this is why I was struggling whether I wanted to make. I guess Baltimore will be my dog, my best bet dog. And my best bet favorite is easily going to be the Dallas Cowboys at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, we've been saying it for years, man. What feels like years, weeks. I'll say to be a little more accurate. Tom Brady, prime time, just does not forget winning. He just doesn't cover spreads. He does not cover the spread. So he's getting points at home. Tom Brady in the playoffs on Monday night. I know how tempting that is. And it's versus the Cowboys, who Tom Brady owns. I know how tempting it is. I get it. The Dallas Cowboys are going to annihilate the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Everybody's going to be talking about if this is Tom Brady's last game. Can he go out like this? Is Todd Bowles going to get fired? That's going to be the entire narrative of this game. Their offensive line is banged up. Dallas is going to be heated. McCarthy's job is on the line. This is a coach go home game
for both teams. Yeah.
If you lose this game, you're getting fired. Whether you're Todd Bowles because you have Tom Brady, or whether you're McCarthy because you just haven't done anything since you've been back.
Yep.
I love Dallas. I've never loved Dallas so much in a game in my life. I definitely never loved them in a playoff game. Elite defense. Tampa Bay has no offensive line. Tampa Bay has no defense. I have no idea how they're going to stop Dallas. Dallas is going to kill them. Take the Dallas spread by -13.5, to be honest with you. I think they're going to absolutely crush them.
Yeah, I just want to look up real quick.
I know this is going to be old takes exposed, but this is like I know I have a Tom Brady sucks thing right in front of my face. I see it. I see the card, but I'm telling you, I really don't like this Tampa Bay team.
Yeah, for me, it's just about like what have you done for me lately? It's that type of league, the NFL, and I feel like Tampa Bay has come on pretty strong towards the end of the season. I mean, maybe it's just Mike Evans and Tom Brady. That connection has found its way back to prominence where it was in the previous years because they were lighting up the NFL the last 2 weeks of the season. On the other hand, I was just trying to look this up. I mean, Dak Prescott, interceptions. You asked, like, how are they going to get, like, how are they not going to cover double digits? I'll tell you how they're not going to cover double digits. Dak Prescott's going to turn the ball over 2 or 3 times, whether it's a fumble and 2 picks, whether it's whatever it is. He's just careless. Zeke sometimes can be careless. Tony Pollard's great. But other than that, I don't really trust Zeke too much at this point in his career to give me a full game up and down the field. Tony Pollard's a little banged up, so I don't know what I have in my run game. Dak Prescott doesn't run, so you have to pass. And the passing game just really hasn't been there. I mean, CeeDee Lamb's great, but he hasn't been spectacular this season. Schultz is pretty good at points throughout the season. But again, there hasn't been a consistent number 2 guy. They wanted it to be Michael Gallup. It hasn't been Michael Gallup. Noah Brown's come on pretty strong for them, and he's been okay. But again, he's been okay. It hasn't been tremendous. So how Tampa Bay stays in this game, I'm telling you, is playoff Lenny comes to play. Leonard Fournette gets in the game, gets going on the rushing attack. They throw to Mike Evans. They throw to Godwin. They don't turn the ball over. And they just wait for Dallas to turn it over 2 or 3 times because it's going to happen. The only way Dallas, I think, covers this game and wins this game is if Dak Prescott does not turn the ball over. And he's only been able to do that twice this season. That's tough. That's tough when your quarterback's going out there turning the ball over twice a game every game. They do have a good offense. They've been able to score Dallas, but I just think it's different when it's the playoffs. You're on the road in Tampa Bay. I get that it's Tom Brady in prime time, but still, I think Tom Brady will figure out his sleep schedule this week and he'll be ready to go. Because to your point, it could be his last hurrah, and I just think they get it done. So give me Tampa Bay. It's 2.5 points, which kind of sucks, but still, give me Tampa Bay at home. I'll take the points with Tom Brady.
Greg, you're so disrespectful to CeeDee Lamb. I mean, the guy is top 5 or 6 in every single category this year in receiving. Like, there's not one category that you could find that he's not top 5 or 6.
He hasn't been spectacular. He's been good.
And that includes Kelsey in most of those because he, and sometimes a running back like Eckler in there. If you talk just wide receivers, it's really Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill, Diggs, and then CeeDee Lamb. Like, there's no other way to look at it.
When's the last time you opened Twitter and it was just a bunch of CeeDee Lamb highlight catches or highlight plays?
Who cares? He had 9 TDs this year.
Yeah,
he had 107 receptions.
Again,
1,400 yards. I mean, I don't care what you did. He's
it's good.
24 catches, 20 plus yards. I don't know what highlights you're watching.
I don't know.
24 plays, he had 20 plus yards. I don't think the Jets did that as a team in the last 3 years combined.
Well, the Jets stink. CeeDee Lamb, like I said, CeeDee Lamb is good. He's just not spectacular. They expected him to be a Justin Jefferson type, a tremendous player. He's top 5. He's top 5, but he's not spectacular at any one thing.
Dude, how many touchdowns did Justin Jefferson have this year?
8.
Guess. All right. CeeDee Lamb had 9.
Yeah. Justin Jefferson, how many yards does he have? 2,000?
1,800.
1,800. How many does CeeDee Lamb
1,800. He had, and CeeDee Lamb had 1,360.
Yeah, so he had 50 more, 60 more yards a game. That's a whole field. That's a field goal. It's a field goal per game better from Justin Fields. I'm just saying he's good. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. Maybe I am. He's good. He's a
game changer. You don't think he's a game changer?
Nope.
We're talking about if he's first or second in the league.
Nope.
Okay, that's fair. You know what? I'm changing my best bet from Baltimore. I wanted to. I love the Dallas Cowboys so damn much in this game. Especially when you're reasoning, and I see why you like Tampa. Just doesn't move the needle at all.
It's the same thing. You know who else? You know who else is in this game that has the same exact stats as CeeDee Lamb? And I don't think he's spectacular. I think he's good as Mike Evans. Yeah. Mike Evans is good. He's not spectacular. He's not Jamar Chase. He's not, whoever you want. Devontae Adams when he was on the Packers. He's not Justin Jefferson. He's good. He's a top 10 receiver. He's just not the wow type of guy. It's not a big deal. I think part of it probably is Dak Prescott. I think CeeDee Lamb can be a wow type of guy. He just doesn't have the quarterback to give him the ball. That's part of the problem. Like I said, Dak Prescott, 2 or 3 turnovers this game. Give me Tampa Bay all the way. I think it might be a slugfest. I think it might go under. I think Leonard Fournette might get involved heavy. I don't know if Tom Brady's going to throw for 300 yards, but I like Tampa Bay in this one. Tom Brady, I think he gets one more go at it. I don't know if he's going to make it out of the divisional round. We'll talk about that next week on Winning Picks Weekly, but I think for this round, he gets out of it.
I hope you're so wrong. But just the last note on Evans, he had 30 less receptions, a couple hundred yards less, 3 TDs less. And this is the crazy number, in my opinion. Almost 400 yards less in yak yards than CeeDee Lamb, or really anybody even near him.
How many yards did Mike Evans have this year? Did he break 1,000?
Yeah, he had 1124. I mean, he's up there. He's up there. He's top 10.
He just has that crazy streak, I think, ever since his rookie year where he has 1,000 yards every season. He had a down year this year. I don't think anyone out there is like, oh, Mike Evans had a great year. And he had 1,100 yards. It's crazy.
Yeah, he had 5 plays over 40 yards. I mean,
yeah.
He's a beast. Yeah. I agree. 80% of his plays were first downs.
It's wild.
He did well. I agree. Well, yeah, it's a little long there on that game. I'm excited to see how we're sitting going into that game. Do you have any teasers or Hail Marys for us on this small but wild super weekend?
Yeah, I can. I was talking about it earlier. Let me get it together for you so we have it. But I did like those alternate line games. So I like the Chargers alternate line. What did I say? 6.5 alternate spread. And it just could be a 2-teamer, but it's a little something. Chargers minus 6.5, Vikings minus 6.5. 2-team parlay is plus 737. So again, $100 wins you 700 on two teams that were pretty good all season against two teams that weren't really that great all season. I think Jacksonville and I think the Giants overachieved, and I think the Vikings and the Chargers are right where they're supposed to be. I think Vikings going into the season, a lot of people thought they were going to be really good. Turns out they're really good. I think a lot of people going into the season thought the Chargers were either going to be really good or a playoff team, and they're a really good playoff team. They're not a division winner because they play in the same division as the Kansas City Chiefs, but they're still a really good team. I think they're going to handle Jacksonville. I think they're going to keep it moving to the next round. Next round gets real interesting when when the Eagles and the Chiefs get into the mix. There's going to be some heavy hitters.
For sure.
What
I'm going to go
you?
with the 3-game teaser, 6 points. Well, Seahawks 15.5, Dallas plus 3.5, and Ravens plus 14.5. All nice football numbers at plus 140.
I like that.
That'll be my teaser there. None of that should be bad. And 15.5 would be ridiculous, Seattle.
Yeah, and tomorrow I might tweet out before the game some over and under teasers because as we were going through this, we saw a couple over unders that we kind of liked that stood out to me. So
for sure,
I think it's going to be a low scoring weekend. I really do. I think there's going to be a few teams that are struggle to score 15, 20 points. So I think it's going to be interesting to see. I'm very excited for this weekend. Good football is back. Win or go home for everyone involved. And we top it all off with Monday night. Apparently, it turned into a big game for this podcast with the Bucs and Dallas. But I just love to see Mike McCarthy and Todd Bowles on the playoffs. We get them both in the same game, switching back and forth, sideline to sideline, with their stupid faces.
I'm shocked. I'm shocked you like Tom Brady on Primetime, and I can't wait to hear your regrets about that.
It's a little bit of a risk, but it's a risk I'm willing to take with 6-time Super Bowl champ.
That's disgusting. I'll never say that again in my life.
Willing to do it.
All right. Hail Mary parlay. I'll start here. This is called the What If I'm Right parlay.
I like
it. Take every game. It's the Hail Mary. Obviously, it's not going to hit. Don't know which ones aren't going to hit. But I'm taking the Seattle spread, Charger spread, Buffalo spread, Viking spread, Ravens, and of course the Cowboys. Solid plus 4,700.
Ravens spread and Cowboys spread.
You want me to take the Ravens money line instead? All right, no problem.
You said it for the first 4, and then you didn't say it for the last 2. So I just want to be clear for the listeners.
No.
They're all spread picks.
They're all spreads except for the Ravens. The Ravens officially money line.
Okay.
Jumping that up to plus 11,500.
I like the other one at 4,700 or whatever you said. I like that. That was
I guess I gotta do both.
Yeah,
I guess I gotta do both. I'm doing both right now.
All right, I like it.
All right, what do you got for your Hail Mary?
I said just those parlays. I mean, you went through and you took all our picks, so you could take all my picks too. It'll be a similar thing because it's all spread picks, so it'll be plus 4,700 ish. And again, the only picks we're opposite on are San Francisco, Cincinnati, and Tampa Bay. So
only.
Yeah, we're on the same page. We're on the same page on the Chargers, Buffalo, and Minnesota.
All favorites, which is scary as hell.
Yeah, right? I did not know that from Bill Simmons. Shout out to Bill Simmons. Hopefully it comes through 2 years in a row. I didn't realize all the favorites were great last year. I hope they're great again this year.
It's literally every time I hear the same damn thing in the first 2 days of March Madness. If you like the dogs, take it money line. If you like the favorite, take the spread. Don't worry about it. Like, all right, it's like, all right, we're here for this too. All right, let's roll here with our rapid fire. All the picks. Super Wild Card Weekend. Greg, Seattle, 10, 9.5 against San Francisco. What do you like?
San Francisco 49ers minus 10.
I got the Hawks. Chargers at the Jaguars. Jaguars home dogs 2.5. What do you got?
Give me the LA Superchargers minus 2.5.
San Diego Superchargers. Miami 13.5 at Buffalo. What do you got?
Buffalo minus 13.5.
I'm with you. Chargers, Buffalo. We're just chalking all the way down the road here. The Giants minus 3 at Minnesota.
Minnesota minus 3.
Yeah, man. We forgot to mention Evan Neal. I don't think he's healthy. Baltimore minus 9.5 at Cincinnati. 8.5, 9.5, 10. I don't care. What do you like?
I like Cincinnati minus whatever the number is.
All right, I got Baltimore and the money line, of course, and then Dallas the big game on Winning Picks Weekly.
Yeah.
Dallas 2.5 at Tampa.
I got
What do you
Tampa
got?
Bay plus 2.5 at home. Somehow this game, I feel like there's more pressure on this game than we're going head to head at our best bets on Sunday
I
night.
know.
But I'm more nervous about Monday night.
Me too. I got to be right about this Dallas game.
Yeah.
I got to put Tom Brady to bed.
Yep.
And we got to stick to our guns, man. When we make the rules, we got to stick to our rules. No Tom Brady in prime time. Doesn't matter what the spread is.
Yep.
All right. That wraps it up for the Super Wild Card Weekend here on Winning Picks Weekly. You know what it is. If you're watching this video on YouTube, like and subscribe to it. And the Knicks, Jets, etc. Period YouTube. We'd appreciate it. We're also on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, anywhere you hear your podcast, Google Play, you name it. We are there. And that's it. Hit us up on Twitter, Winning P Weekly. Let us know what you got. Yo, buckle up, baby. Super Wild Card Weekend. NBA All-Star break's coming. I'm already making my division bets. They're looking great right now. Oh, my NBA division bets, Greg, are looking
Lovely.
oh my God.
Lovely.
I got it right before the Nets streak. And then once right before KD got hurt, I took the Celtics on the back. Oh my, I'm all over. We got the Warriors coming back now. The Suns stink. Clippers. Oh, there's so many nice division bets. All of a sudden, everyone realized Denver's good. And then the Memphis is good. Took them a third of the season to realize. We're going to have to do an NBA primer coming up.
Sounds good.
All right. We out. Let's go Jets, I guess.
Yeah.